Good morning, all. Thank you for joining today's first official press conference of the West Indies tour of Zimbabwe. I am joining you from the CWI headquarters here in Antigua, and remotely we have the interim head coach of the West Indies men's team, Mr. Coley, joining us from Jamaica. And we also have the captain of the West Indies test team, Mr. Kraigg Brathwaite, joining us from Barbados. As mentioned previously, if you have questions, I'm asking you to please indicate by raising your hand in the Zoom group chat. I'm seeing that Gavin Richards has the first indication of a question. So firstly, welcome to all of the media that's present here today. Also, welcome to yourself, coach and captain. Thank you for being here. Gavin, please proceed with your question.
Good morning. Good morning, Kraigg, and good morning, Andre. First question for you, Kraigg. Coming up against Zimbabwe and South Africa after, given what transpired against Australia, what are some of the areas that you're looking to improve on as you head into this series? I know that the West Indies had a relatively good year in Test cricket, barring the ending there. So what will be some of the things that you'll be looking forward to for this upcoming series?
Well, I think one thing that's very important, for us, which we started, from the English series, is batting, at least 110 overs. And obviously in Australia, we didn't do that. I thought obviously Tej, was superb. Starting in Australia's first 2 Test matches, that was quite remarkable. But we didn't get the big scores. We didn't get the big first inning scores that we like. So obviously going to Zimbabwe, where especially at home, it won't be an easy team. It's not a rollover. But I really look forward to the batters, spending time, and getting runs on the board. I think that's quite crucial, for us setting up the game, to win it. And bowling wise, we've always been good. Obviously last series, we didn't bowl Australia. So I think it's very important that, we get back to hitting our straps and looking to get 20 wickets. But I think the complete game is what I look forward to the guys doing. Because in Australia, obviously we didn't get them to get at all. So I think we really gotta show our worth. I think the batters need to come and show some more fight. As I said, Zimbabwe would not be easy at home. So it's not that, you're just gonna get runs against Zimbabwe because they're not number 1 in the world. So we need to see some fight from the batsmen, myself included, and then bowling wise, it's always all about discipline, and we will get 20 wickets in each Test match.
As you mentioned, the bowling, Kraigg, you're going to be without Jaden Seales. That's obviously a big blow, but a quite fitting replacement. Shannon Gabriel comes back into the thing. Word on him, and having a guy like Shannon Gabriel coming back to the West Indies attack.
Well, obviously very unfortunate, to not have Jaden. Unfortunate for injury. Obviously, he's a superb talent. But, Shannon, has a lot of experience, and, he always brings that energy into the camp. Obviously was out, injury last couple matches. So, it's great to have him back. He's a guy that puts in, his all, into each game. And, plus that experience he will bring, I think that will add to, especially Jaden's absence. So yeah, I really look forward to, having Shannon, back in the squad again.
Quickly, Dario, if I can, a quick question for Andre. Andre, Coley, taking over as the interim head coach of the West Indies team. Obviously a big honor for you there, but what will be your immediate goals as the new interim head coach?
Well, my immediate goals is to, as quickly as possible, build rapport with the players, captain making sure that, we're heading in the right direction. I mean, we've already started those conversations, Kraigg and myself, in terms of how we will operate on the tours, and just be clear about how we want to approach things, inclusive of support staff and players. So really just having really clear and open communication about how we are looking to achieve the goals.
Thank you. I'd like to invite the next set of questions from Nikhil Uttam-Chandani. But just before, I do want to ask that we limit the questions to 3 per journalist, just so that we make sure we spread the time out and are able to engage as many persons as possible. Some of you obviously may get answers within answers from your colleagues as well. Nikhil, please proceed.
Thanks, Dario. Morning, everybody. Kraigg, first question for you. Being a part of that tour in 2017 to Zimbabwe, where you guys did well, one man stuck out, which was Devendra Bishu, took 13 wickets in 2 matches. And he's a wrist spinner. You guys have carried 3 spinners, all being finger spinners. What do you think Bishu did so well? And then on the back of that, based on what you saw, do you think you guys have enough in the spin department to compete in Zimbabwe on those surfaces?
Well, yeah, for sure we have enough in the spin department. And I thought Bishu, was consistent. Obviously at times the pitch was getting a little dry and getting some spin, offered some assistance to the spinners. So I thought he utilized that well. And full confidence in the 3 spinners we have for this tour. And it's all about consistency. It's all about hitting one area, making the batsmen defend as much as possible. Bringing the sharp feeders into play. So for sure, we have the enough spinners to get the job done, and I look forward to the guys doing well on this tour.
Kraigg, you were in some test teams of the year for 2022. What has sort of allowed your performances to elevate with the leadership role?
Well, obviously, I thank God, obviously, for giving that blessing, to be doing well for West Indies. Obviously, that's my job, as opening batsman. And I just want to keep doing that. I enjoy leading, as I always say. It helps me, it motivates me. I have to lead from the front. And I would say as opening batsman, I think that's always a plus, because I'm starting the innings, so it's always important for me to make it easier for the guys to come. And that's always my focus. So that won't change. We'll continue to build our foundation, for the guys to come, make it easier for them. But yeah, really enjoy leading, to be honest.
Cheers. And just one for Andrew Coley. Coach, you would have had experience with a lot of these guys, from your time at the High Performance Center and, your various roles across teams in the past. How much of an advantage do you think that is going into these 2 tours? And also, how can you implement your sort of personal plans in a short time in this 3-month period?
Well, it's always good when you're working with a team to have good working relationships and understanding. And the experience over the recent years would have contributed to that. So as you mentioned, yes, I would have had relationships with the different players across the squad, and looking to leverage that to even grow that and use that as a tool that we can utilize in terms of assisting with our planning. That is to answer the first part of your question. And then as it relates to how we plan, just ensuring that, especially in the short term, that we're able to assemble everyone in Zimbabwe in a timely way, so that we can actually begin our preparation leading into the test series, and just ensuring that whatever supporting plans we have around analytics and data, that we are able to have that and share and discuss as a group, to then come up with the more detailed plans and to drive the focus of the tour.
Cheers, man.
Thank you, Nikhil. Ian Wayson, who will be followed by Brandon Corlett. Please proceed.
Good day, everyone. Congratulations, Kraigg Brathwaite, on being named the Test Team of the Year for 2022. But looking forward to the Test series, we are coming up against not only Zimbabwe, but we are coming up against South Africa, and we have struggled against South Africa at home, especially with the pace of Rabada, Note, and those guys. And late last year, we also struggled against the pace bowling in Australia. And what work have we done between that series in Australia and now to be confident in the series coming up against South Africa?
Well, we had some territories, playing some trial matches before, obviously, the first last season. I know a few guys would have played there. You know, a few guys obviously went home and done their work, which they know they had to do. It's not a secret, you know, what we're gonna get in South Africa and in Zimbabwe, to be honest. But also we know the team that played the last test match. And the main thing is that we got to show a fight. You know, I always say, and it's not going to be easy, you know, whether you're facing a spinner or a pacer. But I think once mentally we're in a position, because all of us have talent, all of us have ability. So it's just mentally, once we are determined our mind to fight, I think that will go a long way. You know, we pretty much had 4 weeks, 5 weeks home. You know, it's not like you could put in, you know, that amount of work in 5 weeks. But mentally, I think the guys could make sure they're in the right place, you know, to perform. Obviously, it's good to get 2 test matches, obviously, before South Africa. And, you know, I mean, because playing, the more cricket you play, the better you become. You know, the more test cricket you play, the more you learn. And so, you know the guys are ready to go. We learned a lot in Australia. You know, we saw consistently bowlers bowl. We saw how much balls we had to leave. Our technique was tested, and you know, once we could fight through those periods, you know the guys will do well. So I think the guys really looking forward to the challenge of Zimbabwe and South Africa, and you know, I look forward to obviously the batters, you know, making West Indian fans proud. I think that's really important.
Thank you so much. And this one will be for the coach. I know the coach, you're new in this seat, so I will ask it still, although you are very new in this seat. We have seen to be rotating the 2 specialist spinners, Gudakesh Muti and Jamal Warwick, and even we had the third one, Veresami Purmol, but they are all the same left arm. Well, they are all left arm finger spinners. The other bowler who used to be in the mix, Rakim Cornwall, he has been left out. He hasn't played Test cricket since 2021. Is there any particular conversation that was had with Rakim Cornwall, what he needs to do to get back into the team? Because he's a different kind of spinner. He's a right arm finger spinner as opposed to the left arm finger spinners.
Thanks for your question. As it relates to what would have happened in the past, previously to me coming on board, I mean, there's not much I could contribute in that area. As it relates to, there's no doubt that you know, the spinners in consideration, or quality. I'm sure at a later date, at some point, there, you know, you'll have another opportunity to actually go into more detail around that kind of selection. But as Kraigg alluded to, you know, coming off of the Australia tour and leading into this one, there has been at least 4 or 5 weeks where players would have had the opportunity to play and even practice, you know, to help in their preparation ahead of this tour. And really that's what we're looking to focus on as it relates to, you know, who is involved in the squad.
Okay, then thank you so much.
Brandon?
Hi, this question is surrounding the spinners again. Jamal Warwick and both Gudakesh Moti left arm spinners. But what are the different roles are these guys expected to play? Is it possible for us to see both of them in the team? And what's the difference with the 2 of them? So Kraigg.
Well, obviously we can, you know, I won't be able to tell the 11. We haven't seen the pitches yet. We're still in the Caribbean. But you know, I think both of them are quality spinners. And obviously, as we get there, you know, I'll be in better position, you know, to answer your question. But you know, I obviously look forward to, you know, 2 of the left-hand spinners, you know, doing well in Zimbabwe.
And to Coach Andre, what's your message to the batsmen? We know batting has been struggling, apart from Kraigg and Tage in the recent Australia series, with batsmen averaging more than 40 and 30 odd respectively. But what's your message to the batsmen, Coach?
I'm sorry, kind of got Brandon, I think you got cut out there. I'm not sure if you finished your question.
Your message to the batsmen for the Zimbabwe and South Africa tour.
I think Kraigg alluded to that, to a bit of that earlier, just in terms of the fight that we want to show. The messaging generally would really be around intent to score. Obviously, batting is about scoring runs. Each batter will go about that in a different fashion and have their own particular style. If we're clear on how we want to utilize the intent, while recognizing within the game environment, whenever we're ahead and then using that as an advantage to even get further ahead, I think that is going to be crucial. And then just being able to work together as a batting unit to achieve the team goals. Kraigg mentioned earlier about looking to bat in such a way in the first innings that he can have control of the game. That would be one of the messages in terms of first innings. How can we bat? How can we approach it to ensure that we can actually start well and have some control over the game heading into the second innings? So clear decision making, intent to score, playing as you do with the confidence that you'll have on the tour, while taking into consideration what the game situation throws up at us in any given moment. That's going to be key.
Thanks, Coach. Go ahead.
Sajil from ICS Sports will be followed by Lennox Aldred.
Greetings, everybody. My question is, this is Jill from ICS Sports. My question is actually to both of you. So I'm start of the international calendar for West Indies. There's quite a lot of cricket coming up. So how good would it be to start off with wins, and what are the plans going forward?
But yeah, I think obviously it'll be great, to start off with, 2 series wins, obviously giving you momentum, throughout the year. Obviously your next test series after South Africa is, in the middle of the year in July against India. So obviously it's important, to make use of obviously these 4 test matches, each innings. And as I say, every time you play, you learn, and obviously put yourself in good position, obviously, to play a strong India team in July. But I think, starting well is really important. But it won't just come like that. And saying it, I think, action, speaks louder than words. So obviously look forward to the team starting the year well.
And Coach, I think he said the question was for both of you.
Yeah, right. Clearly, as you mentioned, pretty packed year in all formats for us to go through. And Kraigg, that's following on from what Kraigg had mentioned. This upcoming series against Zimbabwe and South Africa, gives us a tremendous opportunity to actually regain some confidence following on from recent months. And then, as we approach towards the middle of the year against India, etc., looking to build on that confidence that we would have, have gained over even the upcoming 2 to 3 months. So yes, lots of opportunities available, and the players are keen. It's good to have such a year. So it's and players want opportunity to play. So I'm sure everybody's looking forward to this year.
Thank you very much. Kraigg, you've been in a brilliant form. You've been named in a few test teams of the years as well. Are you looking forward to continue that momentum this year?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously I'll be focusing on, as I said, building the foundation, for the team. And that is obviously spending a lot of time, in the middle, and making it easier for batsmen to come. So obviously look forward to doing it again. Look forward to doing some hard work, which I'll continue to do.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Wish you all the best.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sajil. Lennox Aldred is going to be next, followed by Garth Watley, and then Gerard Morris Seeley. So you guys could come in succession after each other.
Blessings, everyone. Greetings, Coach. Greetings, Kraigg. Andre, this one is for you. I just heard you mention that I know your role is interim with this West Indies team right now, but you mentioned that you mentioned India later on in the year. I'm assuming that you're hoping that you will be in the role when the middle of the year comes. Are you using this series to quote unquote showcase that you want this job on a permanent basis?
It is really a tremendous honor to have been asked to lead our international men's team. The focus on me at the moment is really what's in front of me. So the next 2.5 months it's really important, and that's the period that I've been engaged for. So it's really important that we're able to plan properly and give of our best performances across the board. You know, I mentioned the India series as part of an overall 12-month program as it relates to red ball cricket. And if you're really thinking about it, regardless of whether I'm there after the South Africa series or not, the planning will encompass the 12 months. So regardless of who is in the role, it's going to be very important that whatever planning is done with a long-term view in mind. But the short answer to your question is that my immediate focus is for the period that I've been engaged, and that's really what I've been giving my focus.
All right, and just one more from me as well. Marquino Minley was a part of the team to Australia. I know he had some injury issues. What's the status on him in terms of was he looked upon for this series?
I know obviously coming off of the Australia series, he would have had injury concerns, and I think that is presently being sorted. So we just want to make sure that whatever process that Minley is going through, that he's able to complete it and be able to get back to full fitness. So I know that he's working through that process. So that process is ongoing.
All right, last one from me, Coach. I know that Shannon Gabriel is included in the team. And I know that there are a lot of younger fast bowlers that did fairly well last season as well. Jeremiah Louis, Colin Archibald, and these guys. Even Kemo Paul, and they're in their 20s. Was there any consideration to probably consider one of those guys on a tour like this to kind of give them some experience rather than to go back for a 30-year-old Shannon Gabriel?
I mean, there's no doubt that the players that you mentioned would have been in consideration, having been involved in A team or senior team over the last 12 to 24 months. Without getting into too much detail around selection, I mean, the eventual decision was really to go with Shannon because of that pace that he offers, and we all know that a fit Shannon Gabriel, offers that edge. And then obviously with Jaden not being around, Shannon will offer us that bit of firepower. So so those guys have always been in consideration. And as I said, it's a pretty long season coming up. But at this juncture, that was the direction we decided to go.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Question for Coach Coley. Good morning to everyone. Just to clarify, Coach, is it that you want to be the permanent West Indies coach eventually, and have you applied for the position?
As a coach or a player, you want to be able to operate at the highest possible level for as long as is humanly possible or professionally possible. So obviously I'm honored to have been asked to perform in this role. As it relates to applying on a longer term basis, I'm unaware as to where that process is at the moment. And because my focus is really around focusing on the period that I've been engaged, I haven't given thought to beyond that, just because of the key juncture or important period that we are right now in our cricket. And I suppose when that time comes around, when that process is put on the table, then I'll give that some consideration. But for now, the real focus is what's immediately in front of us, which are these upcoming tours over the next 2 months.
Okay, but you are interested.
having accepted this interim role should be indication enough of an interest. But as I said, my focus is really right now around supporting the team in the best way possible.
Okay, thank you, Coach. A question for Captain Kraigg. Before the Australia series, you spoke very positively about what you thought the partnership with Tejna and Paul would be like. Having been through a series with them, how do you assess that partnership, and how do you anticipate the series against South Africa and Zimbabwe will go with them?
Well, Tej, I think he's world class. When you just look at, simple leave alone that he has. He would be a world-class test batsman. Obviously he has the patience, and as you can see, he still has, the shots also on some good Australian pitches. He plays his strike rate was obviously, higher than normal. So, I really think he has a very bright future. And obviously he's a very focused guy, and he's very determined, so, for sure he will make many, many West Indians proud. I have no doubt about that.
I take it that you're fully satisfied with your partnership with them, how you all will do.
Yeah, as I said, he's world class. He's world class. So, we look forward to doing well with him, and look forward to him doing well.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Hi, good morning. Gerard here from Sportsmats. First question for Kraigg. Kraigg, we know that the coach can only do so much when it comes to managing a team and getting them in a winning attitude. Following the performance in Australia, you did mention how disappointed you were with the lack of fight in the team. But have you been able to talk to your teammates on a one-on-one basis, do some man management on those who you thought could have done better, and expect more from? What have you said to them to ensure that they do better on this tour, Southern Africa?
We had some meetings after Australia, and even in Australia before we left, we had some discussions, and the guys knew what we had to do, right? So obviously, in terms of discussions, they were hard. They would have spoken to a few guys. Obviously, some guys going with T20 and stuff. Obviously, it's always difficult when guys, have franchise cricket playing. But I think as a squad, we had a discussion after Australia tour, and we know where we fell short, and we say showing fight, and showing fight is just getting through a spell, from a world class bowler, whether it's short balls, whether it's outswingers, whether it's in swingers, we know we have to fight through. If we don't, we're gonna get bowled out. We're not gonna score runs. So it's as simple as that. I believe we have the skill, all the guys have the ability. And just to put that belief when you get on the test stage, which obviously is natural pressure when you're playing test cricket. So, obviously some guys, would have put in even more fitness work, strength work, because obviously when you're fit, you'll be able to concentrate a little more. But I look forward to, obviously the guys in this, obviously these two tours, to Zimbabwe and South Africa, who obviously South Africa will pose a similar challenge, bowling-wise to Australia. So I think it would be really good to see where we stay when we go there as batsmen, and obviously show improvement. I think it's important. We just have to show improvement. I'm not saying every innings a guy is going to score a triple 100, but I think once we show improvement as batsmen, as players, as bowlers, even as a fielder, I think we put ourselves in a good position. But regarding to your question regarding conversations, I think I had some chats with some of the guys, and the guys been putting in some work. So, I really look forward to these two tours.
All right, thanks, Kraigg. Coach Coley, you have senior squad. Can't do anything about that now. The squad is going off to Southern Africa. Looking at the unit that you have in front of you, what are you thinking in terms of strategy? Are you looking for a heavy batting lineup where we can get 300 on the board, 350 on the board, and then look to defend that? Or are you going to rely more on your bowlers to cut short the scoring and then try to knock it off and get a lead and then win games from there? What are you thinking in terms of strategy?
Well, obviously the playing conditions will dictate some of that or most of it. And as you see, the makeup of the squad, there's bowling in both areas, and we have experience in our batting. So it's really about taking the learning from previous tours, taking whatever confidence we can, and using the period leading into the test match to work out exactly how we will approach that. But key for us is really going to be about the confidence that we bring to that encounter, and then ensuring that we are able to post totals that will challenge opposition and put us in positions to win games heading into the second innings.
And in terms of our bowling attack, we know that we have information from 2017 in terms of the spinners being very critical in our bowling attack. However, since COVID, a lot of conditions across the world have changed. Are we still going to rely on that and play a spinner, or are we going to do with the 4-prong pace attack that hasn't been hot and cold throughout the year? And this is the first time we're playing away since Australia. So are we going to continue with what we are accustomed to with our bowling attack, or are we going to mix it up a bit by having a spinner, 2 pacers, and then the extra option in the reefer or mirrors, or are we going to continue?
Well, the final decision on that will obviously be made closer to the time. We play once we have had an opportunity to see. Yes, subjective data is good from before. However, we have options in the bowling. So we could go either way depending on what we believe is the best option at the time. So as it gets closer to the time and we work it out as a team, what's the best option, then we'll make that decision then. But we do have options to be able to go either way.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Gerard. And while we do still have 2 raised hands, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut questions from the media at this point. One thing that I wanted to ask Coach, selfishly, considering that this is an interim appointment and you would have been with the West Indies Academy in the lead up, I just want to ask, what's the progress that you've seen there and the good things that are happening with the Academy in Antigua, and how much are you looking forward to the continuance of that program?
I believe that program is really crucial. It's unfortunate that the previous one was stopped. We would have been 10 years on. But what's good is that we're here and we have a group of players who are considered to be among the best across the region. And so far, over the last 6 months, they've been involved in a number of different development opportunities. So there's a development camp. We were involved in the Super 50. Presently, majority of them are involved in their respective trial matches for the upcoming 4-day series. So that also has given them more opportunities to learn and develop their game. And then just trying to remotely, because they're all in their respective territories, just remotely working with the respective territories to see how we can continue to support them whilst they are there, over the next 6 months. So yeah, it's quite exciting prospect. 1 or 2 other players have had opportunities. Ramon Simmons is now in South Africa. He was the best, emerging player in the CPL. So, and there are a couple of other players around who have signaled some intent and promise. So it's really an exciting program, and I'm confident that with as time goes on, it will be strengthened you know, along with the personal development side of things.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate that. And on behalf of the media that have been present throughout the press conference, I just want to say thank you for taking time out to be here with us and to answer questions so eloquently as usual. And Skipper, also, I'd like to say thanks for making yourself available for the press conference. And then on behalf of CWI and the team here on the ground, I want to say thanks to the media for showing up. I think that it was a very good session. The comfort level made it feel really intimate, and we got some good answers from the coach and captain. So we're looking forward to continued communication as we approach this tour to Zimbabwe and South Africa. Thank you for joining. I will send out the press conference shortly and see you again soon.
Thank you.